Hey, do you wanna follow me behind the scenes of my new clothing collection? A question that comes up regularly is, well, what do you do all day as a freelance illustrator? So, to answer this question, I'm opening a new, more personal playlist that takes you behind the scenes of my daily artist life, projects, and clients, hoping to give you a realistic glimpse of what life as an artist can be like. And to kick things off, I'm starting to share with you the entire creation concerning the launch of the first big collection for my new clothing brand, Himesama Clothing. So to give you some background, Himesama is a brand of casual lolita clothing and bands of Japan with a more elegant and feminine touch, which you can shop online at himesama.fr. In collaboration with the graphic designer Loïc I, who proposed the initial idea, we are starting really small with a limited assortment of clothes like t-shirts and accessories, and the shop was opened just 2 months ago, but we're really motivated to develop it. For the launch, we took my Queen series, which was already known by my audience, and now we're continuing with a brand new exclusive collection titled Maidens of the Zodiac with 12 illustrations. So I'm going to take you through the whole process, like from abstract concept to the final products in the shop. So ready? Let's go! The idea of illustrations on the horoscope came to me because I wanted a series where that could speak to everyone, that people would love to wear, and it's also a theme that I had never illustrated before. Loïc is super cool and gives me complete freedom over what I want to draw. Basically, I just share all the ideas that come to my mind and we see them together if it's interesting or not. Now, I've never designed a fashion collection, and to be honest, I didn't really know what to do at all in the beginning. So in our initial Himesama description, we said that we were targeting lolitas and Japanese culture lovers. But since we don't have the possibility to print on more elaborate clothes except for t-shirts and sweaters yet, I had a hard time figuring out what style of drawing I wanted to use, in addition to the fact that I'm a traditional illustrator, but that it's easier for Loïc to create clean graphic designs with digital art. The initial collection was designed with full body characters, so I was kind of ambitious. I wanted to create for each sign a female and a male version with clothes that represented specific signs, and I always brainstorm my ideas in pencil drafts in a sketchbook, but here I wasn't convinced at all. Representing certain signs through clothes is not easy, and I really found myself, for example, with the lions in a more wild and safari mode, or the scorpions being more rock and roll and dangerous. But I felt like I can't imagine people identifying with that. It's too stereotypical, and we have totally turned away from the lolita side, which is still where we want to develop our brand. The same goes for the men's versions. It was such a bad idea, and I didn't feel comfortable at all. For instance, let's take Virgo. I was associating it with a white and pure image. The female version was fine with a sweet, more romantic dress and flowers, but the male version, white shirt and trousers to represent purity, that's so unspectacular. At the same time, I wanted to find a digital coloring style that would make it easier for the week to do the graphics, and that would also allow us to have clothes on another color than just white. So really something impossible until now, since my traditionally scanned illustrations can't be 100% cleanly cut. Anyway, I tested it with a random bust, focusing on the inking, which is my favorite, and then adding a minimalist coloring. And again, I didn't like it at all. Just so you know, digital is not my cup of tea as far as coloring is concerned, and it's definitely not something I'm ready to invest hours of learning because, that's just not what I like. Anyways, I wasn't convinced at all by these early stages, and Loïc sent me some examples of relatively simple colorings, some of them still too difficult for me, but it gave me the idea to start with simple flat colorings and to bring out the details and the beauty of the illustrations with my strength, so inking. And here it was really on a whim, like when I have an idea in mind, I have to try it directly, without any preparations or sketches or anything, so I decided to take Libra as a first example, simply with a gothic lolita portrait and accessories reminding the sign. I didn't want to do any sketches or research because I was too impatient, and I sketched everything directly on the tablet, followed by inking and a very basic cell coloring. And it was an intensive day, but when I'm in the mood I can't stop until I have the final result, and here it is. So I directly sent the illustration and the PSD to Loïc, who validated the idea. In the next mail he sent me some graphic design proposals, and I truly believe it's a great collaboration because on both sides we give each other freedom to create according to what we want. Receiving Loïc's graphics for new projects is always a bit of an anticipation, kind of like before opening a present, and I'm always like, oh, what has he prepared for me this time? So here's the first layout, where we both agreed that it looked more like an old movie poster than a clothing design, and thus we went with the second idea, which we both loved. Are you ready? Ta-da! Loïc changed the colors to more pastel tones, and we have the kanji of our brand Himesama perfectly integrated on the side, and the sign noted on the bottom with a circle that highlights the character. Seriously, I know I do this, but I love it, and it's really amazing how a good graphic designer can make things stand out, and I'm really happy to be working together on this project. And in the clothing version on a black background, it looks even better. But yeah, I'll stop fangirling even if I'm super happy with the result. Anyways, with this first final visual completely defined and finished, the real work on the collection could finally start. Using Libra as a model, I started to draw. The important thing was always to have a lolita character in bust or portrait form with recognizable elements for the sign and a place for the circle in the background and the Latin name on the bottom part. Libra had been defined at the end of July, beginning of August, and we started the discussions for the dates and for the next collections in general, with the aim of having new items in the shop every month. And from a strategic point of view, this big collection available for before Christmas, when everyone is looking for gifts. So in order for the products to be delivered before the 24th of December, with the manufacturing time and potential delivery delays, the whole collection absolutely needed to be ready at least 1 month in advance. So we decided to announce the collection in the first week of September, and as you can see, it's really just been launched. Initially, we wanted to unveil a new visual every week to create a regular meetup with our followers on Instagram, and also to give me a break in case there were any unforeseen events on my side. And in the end, and given my progress, we decided to launch the first 6 signs at the same time in September, and the other 6 will be next month in October. And this ritual planning was very important for me to manage my schedule. Given the very short deadline of 1 month, this collection was my non-negotiable project, and to be scheduled as well as possible between my other activities. Because let's face it, since Himesama is new, we're still at a stage where we have more expenses than profits, and I'm still working on commissions and coachings to keep a stable income. But I think I speak for Loïc too. We really want to do something nice with this project, and we're working on it as much as we can. So let's move on to the illustrations. In an ideal, perfect world, I had planned to finish all the illustrations by August 31st so that I could focus afterwards on our Instagram communication. You can follow us at Himesama Clothing, by the way. But in real life, I finished all the sketch ideas on August 19th. I realized that I was limited to 1 drawing a day because forcing my hand with the tiny hyper-detailed strokes in digital inking tended to bring back my tendonitis like here. And there were also days when I was stressed and unmotivated after my other client work. So there you have it, welcome to my life as an artist. To be more efficient, I always try to batch my work because I get better progress and clearer thinking once I'm in the groove and doing repetitive tasks. This is especially important when I need more concentration, especially in the first stage of researching ideas. Basically, I sat down with my sketchbook and a pencil because I always think much better in the traditional mode and try to define the different designs, poses, details in a similar layout than our first library model. And even if this step doesn't look like much, it's really the most important one because it's the basis that will determine everything you draw after. I always try to see what important details will be placed, what movement my final illustration will make, for instance, concerning the direction of the hair or the accessories, if it has to be dynamic, etc. There are always concepts that inspire me directly and I have an idea right away, which I just have to get from my head to the paper, but for others the process takes longer. I have to test several variations of poses, hairstyles and accessories, and I determine the ideas over 3 days, with each session about 1 week apart, to let my head rest for the designs I wasn't too sure about yet. Once I've settled on an idea, I create a proper sketch. At this stage, I adjust the proportions, draw the faces, add extra details to have my final illustration. Then I scan in 600 dpi and enlarge it to A4 size. Sometimes when I really like the drafts with the dynamics, the details and everything, I would just adjust the final sketch digitally over them. Afterwards, there's the inking and coloring, both done in one go the same day. Generally, an illustration takes me between 4 to 5 hours and then I need to rest my hand for the day. I also tend to get big headaches and anxiety attacks when I'm on screens for too long, a few days in a row, so I'm trying to take better care of my health. Really trying. It doesn't always work because I want to go all in when I'm doing projects I love and usually always go beyond my limits. The last 10 days in August, when I had finished all my other obligations and was totally free, I pushed myself for a total of 6 illustrations. And as soon as the drawing was finished, I would send it to Loïc so that he could work on the graphic layout. And at one point we had a little trouble because the design was great for Libra, but Loïc said the texts were hiding my drawings too much and that the circle didn't necessarily work for the other motifs. So he made several suggestions, but honestly at one point I had seen so many of my work over and over again that I couldn't tell what was good and what wasn't anymore. And that's why I asked for lots of feedback from people close to me who have an outside eye as a customer, and that really helps a lot. In the end, we decided to go with the original layout but adapt the colors according to the different illustrations. So even if my goal was to finish them all by August 31st, the fact that I've already created more than half of them for a collection that will fill the last quarter of the year gives me room to finish the others in a more relaxed way. But because I'm overly passionate about my work, I'll probably totally force this week to finish everything because I love to challenge myself to ridiculous levels of productivity. As I know myself, afterwards I will be totally knocked out and will probably not do any new illustrations for the next 3 months at least. And I'm letting Loïc take care of finalizing the graphics and putting them on the products. I usually have phases where I'm motivated to give it my all when drawing, which was definitely the case for this collection, but I always quickly run out of stamina and need to retreat behind the scenes afterwards, like to get back into a more logical business mode. For the next quarter, I'm thinking more of reviewing our Instagram strategy and communication. Especially with conventions starting again, I want to gradually change my booth to showcase our products at live events. There's really so much to do when you launch a project like this, and it's something that kind of fascinates me because the possibilities are just endless. And really, as you can see, in the end, most of the project was planning and finding ideas, and illustrating was only a tiny little fraction of the whole process. And yet, that's what people remember in the end. But yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes format and that it gives you a little more insight into how projects come through and what goes on in the day-to-day life of an independent artist. And if you want to discover our products or simply support the brand, please come and visit himesama.fr and subscribe to our newsletter to be the first informed of new products and exclusive offers. We've translated the website into English and we also deliver worldwide. Over time, we really hope to develop the brand and add more diverse clothing and accessories that will offer happiness and confidence to those who wear them. So thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. As always, to grow from art to business on Tuesdays 6 p.m. in English and French.